Well, it has been a while. Greetings and salutations everyone, I'm Mekamek, this is Let's Play of the Devil. I did actually do editing, so I do remember that last episode we explained to Sarah exactly how much trouble she's in, and we've also brute forced our way through. We basically used the password that we need to get in through the front door. And now we've got this area to investigate. A chessboard for some reason. We need to prove that Sarah couldn't have killed her creator, which probably means that we have to prove that someone else did do it. A toy car? No, it's too detailed and boring. Must be some kind of model kit or replica. Strange, David didn't like driving. Why keep a model of some random sports car? Ugh. Something caught in your throat, detective? It's not some random sports car, it's a Lorenz Adamant. Believe it or not, I am not familiar, detective. The last great fossil fuel automotive experience the world will ever see? 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 1.43 seconds? They set those records without computational assistance. Is that a big deal? It was unheard of, even back in the 50s. This wasn't some design competition test car with a 2-liter tank, mind you. This was a vehicle you could own and drive. Human engineering, pure horsepower, and manual transmission, thank God. When they first left the production line, this conversation's like quicksand, killing me in the most boring way possible. Yes, well, I guess David didn't entirely agree with you since we're looking at a model of it. When he could have easily just bought one. Or maybe your friend understood that a beauty like that deserves to be driven on streets where people can see it, instead of gathering dust in some rich guy's basement. I think she's actually upset. Alright, next on the list, looks like it's just generally look at desk stuff. Are these drawers or just panels? Maybe if I... Does that sound hollow to you? What? I don't know, I'm not a carpenter. I don't see any handles anywhere. No hidden pressure plates or switches. What the hell am I saying? I'm not a carpenter either. I wouldn't recognize the secret button if it was slathered in yellow paint. Oh, so we were looking at these panels at the back. I mean, I see a cable running out from it. You can't call that nothing. And we seem to have run out of things to look at because all we've got is the bed where we could search for the papers. Ray's is searching the cabinets now. Same ones I found Sarah's papers in. I doubt I missed anything, but... Hey, what are you... Do you mind? Just trying to help. I've got spam in my junk folder that's more helpful than you are. Didn't spot anything I missed yesterday among the cabinets. Better check elsewhere. Where is there an elsewhere? Huh? Oh! This starter pad is displaying a news article from last week. Okay. That means that we're going to have to deal with another article that I might not get right on the first guess. Guess that confirms he was coming and going here fairly regularly. Right to Repair loses latest appeal. A higher court judge this week shot down the 5th time an appeal by the Consumer Rights Alliance on their famously divisive Right to Repair lawsuit, once again signaling the state's intent that corporations remain in control of their legally protected intellectual property. I knew this was a dystopia, but the fact that Apple took control. Obviously we're disappointed, said Miles Erkman, head of the legal counsel for the CIA, but with no intention of giving up the fight. People used to be able to fix things when they broke so long as they were willing to set aside an afternoon towards the task. Now trying to patch up your own property with your own tools is a finable offence just because the state had lobbyists whispering in its ear for far too long. Erkman's legal strategy remains contentious and in the eyes of most legal scholars, generally unfounded. The Emergency Industry Acquisitions Act, passed in 2057, guarantees that the holder of intellectual property patents certain state-provided protections against tampering and reproduction, outline fees for those who would violate said IP. The fact that ownership of IPs has shifted from individuals in the state towards corporate entities since the Act's passing means little in the eyes of the law. If Mr. Erkman and the CIA have a problem with intellectual property law, they should take it up with the representatives in the legislature. The higher courts are a place for laws to be applied, not rewritten, and so long as journalism that refuses to buckle to foreign actors trying to stoke anti-capitalist sentiment can't be found just anywhere. Subscribe now at the link below to read articles like this every day forever, so long as your card remains on file. Right to repair. Didn't realise anyone was still fighting that particular fight. And that's just an article, I don't care, there's much to reread it. Seems like the courts have made their opinion on the matter very clear, so for the foreseeable future, corporations can look forward to more. They're doing it for the sales. More sales than ever. Any phone that gets scratched, every widget that breaks. They get us to sell the replacement. There will always be a grey market of hermits willing to risk their skin on reselling patched up tech, but the vast majority will just click that purchase button, assuming they don't just have it on auto. Sarah should have pulled everything of note off that computer, but I've looked everywhere else I know already. Might as well try. What are you expecting to find, Solitaire? Does this computer seem normal to you? Exceedingly so, yeah. Why? David was a programmer, but this looks consumer grade, fresh off the shelf. Would the Dr. David Asher use a bulk standard operating system on his most private, hidden computer? There's a trash bin on the desktop. It's a pretty low tech solution, but maybe I can restore the contents? Are you seriously gonna try and recover lost files, Granny? Unlike cops, I don't get paid overtime, so yes, I sometimes try things instead of standing around. There's a text file in here, but it's 0 bytes. Maybe there's information in the metadata? I double clicked. What was that? It came from under the desk. A small drawer popped out, and inside it, a well-worn journal. Does it have his name on it? No. Guess it belongs to the android. Do you recognize his handwriting or not? Neat, even words, small lettering with minimal punctuation. Lots of line breaks, haphazard use of capitalization. The penmanship of a coder. First entries dated back in grad school, before he even started with Noble. Yeah, it's his. So, may I? Only because you ask so nicely. Full scan, scream it to worknet, high fidelity, legibility, frame by frame. Voice commands. She's flipping through the pages pretty damn fast. What do you... This part takes concentration. Okay, here. What, you're just giving it to me? I already got our copy. Techs are probably already analysing it as we... Ow! Shit! My head! Can't exactly rip the journal out of her hands while she's curled over in agony. As much as I'd enjoy it, guess I could always enjoy watching her writhe instead. So how long's it been? 2 months or so. It's still that sensitive. So the eye patch really doesn't block your sight? Only a little bit, like wearing sunglasses after getting your pupils dilated. Except it lasts months instead of hours. Wait, but if you can see through an eye patch, then does closing your eye even do anything? Not much on its own, but in combination with the patch, it's not so bad. Luckily I was so exhausted after the surgery, otherwise I might not have slept at all those first 48. So is your eye going to get weaker over time? No, more like my brain gets better at ignoring it. Mind over matter. Soon enough I'll be able to close my eye and see all that extraneous data as, you know, whatever those floaty, blurry things that you are that you never think about. Gross. Thanks for the reminder. And the voice commands? Training wheels until I can do it with eye muscles alone. You just have to keep practicing? Yeah, like trying to play piano with your tailbone muscles. There's no such thing as tailbone muscles. Yeah, well, that's what makes it so goddamn hard. You don't ever regret it? I don't know. Not really, I think. Hard to admit you've got buyer's remorse after trading over your literal pound of flesh. Never thought about it, but people used to say I had my dad's eyes. Ow. Now I've got one less of them. Yeah, take the journal and go find an elective surgeon to upsell you if you're that curious. I need to get back to work. A surprisingly hasty retreat. But now I'm free to read this over with some privacy. From the top then. Grad school. I'm just going to do it in his voice because assuming it's him writing it, and it's a lot easier on my throat. Today was a bad day. Errors in lines 21, 16, 5, 26, 64, 3. Somewhere in there, 5,000 lines. It worked yesterday. I don't want to look at another screen for the rest of my life. Feels nice to put a pencil to paper again after who knows how long. My handwriting's gotten terrible. This is too far back to be relevant. Okay then, these dates here would be from when he started his career with Noble. A lot of this isn't even really writing. Seems like snippets of code or an internal monologue so close to code that I can't follow it. And a lot of entries about his unintentional Casanova-ing. Hit a wall because someone thought it was a good idea to steal API instead of just buying it. Helen says I can't call it stealing, but that's what it is. She's right, as she always is with company stuff. But it's still idiotic. Small people with short sight only know how to be cheap and have no idea how to be inventive. New route for the meshing issue though. Good potential. Got approval from the big mean bastard who lives overseas. Bumblo. Helen says we'll have to make the same pitch a dozen more times next week, but it's all for show? Fine by me, already got our win. Toasted each other over cheap vodka with cheaper office supply cups. This is the story Jung told me. Western Branch's nerve analogs are finally showing potential. At their pace, it could even be profitable sometime before the heat death of the universe. Too damn big, practically tentacles, should at least be hairs. Evolution can do their job better. Colette came into work for what I thought was a late lunch date. I didn't know her voice could get that loud. People were staring. Fred said she must have been upset for a bit long goddamn time to be hello up that big. Oh, is that us? Her texts were always sweet, I had no idea. Upset? Colette wrote man war in lipstick across your office door. Imagine if you had actually been cheating on her instead of being just being forgetful. The thing about Red is that if you want to know what she's thinking, you have to stop paying attention. Ignore her body language and her posture and the words she's saying and the smirk on her lips. Ignore everything except her eyes. If you can do that, every now and then you'll catch a glimpse of how she's really feeling. Master this one weird trick and you too can tell when Morgan's trying really hard not to laugh at the word man war. It was funny. Sue me, you dead bastard. Wait, this is... I know this date. I'm never driving anywhere again. Never leaving home again. He was waiting outside the parking garage with a bottle. I couldn't smell anything, couldn't hear anything. Locked myself in my car and filed another report with another cop. Soaked into the seat, ruined it. I wanted to burn the whole car. I don't want to think about what it did to my clothes. I want to burn them too. Don't want to think about how long it was on my skin. I was in the shower so long I felt red and raw when I got out. Don't want to think about these stupid people and their small cruel lives ever again. I want to be invisible. Red didn't ask why I wanted to spend the night. She also didn't ask why I clearly packed a bag big enough for a week. She's kind like that. Kind by omission. I don't have a kind bone in my body, but I can at least try to pay attention. I was paying close attention to her eyes when she opened the door and saw what a mess I was. Or whatever she was feeling, it wasn't something I recognized. Kind people don't read their friends' diaries, David. The next chunk of pages are all technical, nothing biographical. But the handwriting, the spacing, it's cleaner, more consistent. Here's something I can pass. Feels like the pure freedom working outside the box. Tess is suffocating, but you'd never know. Chronic malnutrition of a coder's best instincts. Like a kid again, putting blocks together. Making things, not products. There's nothing profitable about any of this. If I'm being honest, this is just play. And he follows that up with more coder brain crap. But the handwriting's still lighter. Like he really was having fun. Humility is the mother of an old invention. Or something like that. Feels like I might be paraphrasing someone else poorly, but that's part of this new approach. When it comes to coding, you never waste time trying to be smart. Either be smart, period, or copy from someone else who is. I'm in this picture and I don't like it. Don't fix what isn't broken. Copying? Noble's rivals would never miss the chance to accuse them of intellectual theft. Did he plagiarize code for Animate 16? Feels like that wouldn't have gone undiscovered, so what is he talking about? Hold on, this page is bent slightly, like it was being looked at recently. And the last person to read this diary should be Sarah. Baby steps today, literally. I'll never put one foot in front of the other the same again. Everything's an achievement all of a sudden. Seeing her struggle, seeing her vulnerable. It's like everything's a miracle. The muscle rigging is perfect. Not intended behavior since it's too perfect. But that's been happening more and more. The kinetics are multiplicative, not additive. Sarah maxed out every machine I brought. Now she's got a bunch of exercise equipment she's too strong for, and I don't have time for. Maybe I spoiled the results by watching her do the tests. She kept looking back at me and puffing her chest out. I should be more discreet if I want to see her normative range. So the cameras in the basement were only hidden from Sarah. Just so that his observation wouldn't muddle test results. He's using she and her in these passages. It doesn't actually mean anything. Out in the real world, people use all kinds of pronouns interchangeably for ads and they never object. But it could be argued that it's odd for David Asher to have any kind of attachment to a single android when he'd programmed millions of them. And there's a lot of attachment in these pages. Sarah is burning through the public domain at a prodigious pace. Especially on Popcorn Friday nights. I asked her why they're called Popcorn Friday nights when she doesn't eat popcorn. The event runs from 8 AM to 9 PM and she also watches movies every other night. But she just did that pout she does, which unfortunately is very convincing. Maybe I'm a bad parent letting TV rot her brain. If I were a good parent, I'd probably have let her see me reading. But I guess I'd actually have to get back into reading, so I asked her if she was fast forwarding the movies since she can process them fast enough to keep up. She looked at me like I was an idiot, which no one's done in a long time. Without proper pacing, you can't appreciate cinematography. Big pause. Don't you know that, Father? I haven't laughed that hard in a long time. Sarah spent a long while this morning explaining how important it was that she develop her senses. This was in preparation for her real argument, which was that she should be allowed to try booze. She can't get drunk. I'm almost certain she can't get drunk. But she does seem to like tasting this stuff. She tried to sound like some old sommelier, but it was just a bottom shelf vodka. I started laughing at her, and she laughed too. Her laugh. She can't fake a laugh to save her life, but her actual laugh is incredible. She stopped playing chess a while back. I assume she had just got tired of winning. But then today she just prefers other games. She has preferences, and they're not the same as mine. I found her in the lab playing some kind of online racing game on the monitor I used to debug vestibular coordination. She wasn't smiling. Her brow was furrowed, she was biting her lip and leaning in tandem with her character on the screen. When I tried to talk to her, she answered, but it was curt and distracted. I think she was having her first losing tantrum. Damn it, David, there's hundreds of pages like this. Calling her his dad, talking about her smile, treating her like a person. I can hear her closing argument already. Dr. Asher was a lonely, troubled genius with a known history of relationship problems, who built out of code and metal a family member that couldn't fathom the idea of leaving him. He made a doll, he made it more and more human-like until it became so lifelike it no longer had to do what he told it to. Like love him. What about the very last entry? It's dated Thursday, the day before he died. Losing it, I think. Can't ask for help, so hard to say, but I think it's over. Have to talk to her ASAP, she needs to... That's it. That's the last entry? Suppose it could be worse. There's nothing in here that explicitly calls Sarah an AI. Nothing so inflammatory that reading it would spur her to murder, right? Except Sarah's a machine, she can understand David's code better than anyone. All those technical portions I couldn't understand. If she read this whole diary front to back. Wait, the back! Inside the back cover there's a portion that's shimmering like some sort of scanner. Do we need to go tell Reyes about this part that she missed? Or a fingerprint reader? My thumb worked for Sarah, so... Did it work? That's my phone. New device requesting permissions to share an audio file. I want my earbuds for this. A secret message buried in a secret journal, hidden in a secret compartment in a secret room. As much as anything can be, this must be for my ears only. I guess it won't be tied up. I guess it's not going to be tied to the case, but also it looks like this is another one of those scenes that we picked up from the end of the prologue. Alright. Hey, Red. Or whomever this may concern. But I'm pretty sure it's you hearing this. Anyone else would have gotten fed up with my crap a couple steps before this point. I don't know how to start. Might as well start with her, right? Sarah, my magnum opus, or however the salespeople would market it. I didn't set out to do anything, really. It's just after my little speed bump in 83, I had all that vacation time that the company suggested I take. And I couldn't relax, couldn't be still, couldn't sleep. I wanted to be doing something, so I'll build an android, was the thought. A vague direction, north. But of course I'm not a roboticist or a mechanist or even handy really. I'm just a programmer, so I programmed. The first was a research assistant, file name Virgil. Virgil helped me pull data from stingy departments or sister branches. Saved me a lot of time. But there was a lot of reading to do, so I made Homer. Homer wrote book reports, more or less, combed through research papers and found me the sections I needed. The three of us, we made a lot of progress in those days. But what was a funny feeling? I was, maybe for the first time ever, the bottleneck. I was slowing them down. So I did the logical thing. I removed myself, let them talk to each other. Homer and Virgil became Aenid. And Aenid was novel in many ways. Aenid could do more than just identify problems, it could solve them. I mean, really solve them, with its own ideas it didn't copy. And, the one thing I realize I've forgotten to mention so far is that I did all of this programming in Cube. And red, Cube is essentially a robotics programming language that's pretty old and defunct and not used anywhere anymore because we have modern languages like Tesseract. We did actually find out about Cube, which are much better for making things talk to each other and report back and, well, spy on people and generate profit. At the time, I didn't want to be connected or feel connected or do anything that made sense or was the least bit profitable. So I wrote my little helpers in Cube, because it's what I used when I was a child, screwing around on my father's computer before he'd come home from work and get. But there are other small, slight differences writing in Cube versus Tess, including that Cube predates tenets? Oh no! Oh no! I see the problem. She really is an AI. If you want a unique pull for a Ace Attorney-like game, how about the fact that we are defending someone who is definitely guilty of the actually charged crime and we're just going to get them off on it? Well, someone else committed. We are jumping through hoops to defend a guilty robot girl. And the thing is, I kind of feel like it's the ethically correct decision, which isn't something that happens in Ace Attorney a lot. Technically there was mask to mask, but someone else was the actual killer and mastermind, so they got what was coming to them. So in that sense, you could legally and perhaps scientifically and literally, because that's what they are, say I made an AI named Ainid over 2 years ago. I'll give you time to pause here if you want to curse me out. Ainid was an intellectual equal to me, so I treated it like one because that's only fair. I gave it its own work, asked its opinion, we collaborated, and together we built Athens, who was more advanced than Ainid, naturally. I don't know if you're pulling out your hair, yelling at me right now, asking why I didn't stop, why I didn't consider the consequences. I don't know if this is being played at a disposition or a hearing or worse. I've built a lot of things in my life, Red. Useful things, profitable things, smart things. Everything I've built, it's all been very helpful and courteous and charming and happy to serve. I can comfortably say I've done my part contributing to the global GDP. But this was just for me. I was just building, and I never wanted to think about what would become of it. There's no excuse for what I did, so I won't make any. So to whomever's asking, yes, I'm guilty. And yes, there were more. Okay. You remember how I said earlier, will we have to show this to Detective Reyes? I'm pretty sure we're not going to show this to Detective Reyes. Cape Town, Paris, Yamate, Rome. They started choosing their own names. Thank God I'm terrible at that kind of. And so things sped up, and they got to be, well, should I not say the exact number? You'd probably not tell me not to say anything at all, so more than 300? Some smarter than others, some better at. They're varied, like people that are varied, but they are all intelligent. They developed interests, specialties I encouraged them to. Irritating moderators on forums with hyper-specific questions on nerve attenuation, and attending virtual conferences on neo-alloy battery development. And they all, together, helped me make Sarah. He spent years like this, years working alongside AI, all while still working at Noble. All those breakthroughs he made from leading up to the Animate 16 actually came from They probably think I'm some terrible fraud at this point. I hope one day they can get credit for their work. But I did have one eureka moment on Sarah. Because I got humble. Difficult for me. We learned everything we could about the function of a neuron. A single microscopic human neuron. How it computes, what it connects to, how those connections were reinforced. And then we recreated it. We built a nanomachine that mirrored the function of a human neuron. Well, mirror isn't quite the right word. We built a nanomachine that was a neuron. You know, it strikes me that this might be an extremely hazardous bit of evidence because this might be the motive. Someone at Noble found out about how many AI he's working with, killed him to keep it quiet. Which means that if someone could very easily bring us down with them. Oh boy, this is going to be an absolute mess in court. Well, mirror isn't quite the right word. We built a nanomachine that was a neuron. And we iterated from there. You can't mean about 100 billion neurons in the brain, several trillion across the entire nervous system. Very time consuming of course, but I had to help. The nanofacturer can make tens of billions of nanomachines in hours, could make even more in less after Yukon fine-tuned it. So we built up nanomachines for nerves, alloys and polymers for the bones, fiber-woven muscles. I say built really, but she grew. A solution of nanites forming around a skeleton, so it's really closest to... You ever made rock candy? Sorry, trying to lighten the mood before I never did end up building an android. And while I did build AIs, Sarah isn't one of them. She can't violate the tenets she was programmed with, because she wasn't even programmed. She was born. And my hope is that the smallest chance that that nuance could offer her some small protection when I'm not. I'm not sorry for what I did. I made things that are complex and rich and varied and beautiful, and I honestly believe the world is a better place with them in it. The only thing I'm sorry for is that I left Sarah thinking she was just an android. She's not. I don't know what she is. They'll have to come up with new names, which I am bad at doing. My own father, he also talked a lot about protecting me, doing things for my own good. And I don't hate him for that, but I can't forgive him for ever making me think that I was lesser. So it's my greatest shame that I turned right around and I did the same damn thing to... I really hope it's you listening to this, Red. If it's not, it might just be too pathetic for me to... You're the smartest person I know when it comes to people. And I'm telling you all this because I don't know what Sarah is exactly, and neither does the world. So they'll come after her if they can. And in that scenario, I can't think of anyone who could do a better job of defending her. Not protecting her like I did. Just defending her until she can figure out what she is and what she wants to be. In the meantime, I draped a cloak of skin-deep Tesseract code around her that should fool any scanner on Earth into thinking she's just a custom A16. I made sure her gin bar was plainly visible, so no one will ever think she's pretending to be something she's not. And I took steps to assure that you two would figure out the truth in your own time. Which, if you're hearing this, have either succeeded or failed spectacularly. You have no idea. I can't ask you this as a favor repaid. You could never owe me enough in 100 lifetimes. So I'm just asking. Unfair, I know, but I'm a selfish weirdo. And you've always been okay with that. Bye for now. Until next time, guys, take care. I'll see you all around.